Get ready, coin collectors and treasure hunters. In today's video, we're revealing the top 5 ultra-rare and most valuable Washington quarter dollars that could be hiding in your change. These aren't just ordinary quarters. From rare error strikes to key mintages that shock the collecting world, these Washington quarters have turned pocket change into life-changing fortunes. This coin is more than just change, it's a piece of American history. A treasure that collectors dream about, and in some cases, it is sold at auction for jaw-dropping amounts of money. Some of these coins have hidden minting mistakes that transformed them from everyday currency into legendary rarities. From 1932 to 1964, Washington quarters were made of 90% silver and 10% copper. But in 1965, everything changed. Rising silver prices caused people to hoard silver coins, which created a shortage in circulation. The U.S. Mint decided to eliminate silver from quarters and switch to a new composition, copper-nickel-clad outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to a pure copper core. This was a huge shift in U.S. coinage. The 1965 quarter became the first clad quarter ever minted. But during this chaotic transition, mistakes happened, big mistakes. Some coins were accidentally struck on 1960 for silver planchets or other foreign planchets, while others were minted with striking errors that make them incredibly rare today. Types of rare 1965 error quarters. 1965 silver quarter error. These are extremely rare and can sell for tens of thousands of dollars. 1965 wrong planchet errors. 1965 quarter struck on a foreign coin planchet, rare and highly collectible. These errors can sell for $1,000 to $10,000 plus, depending on condition. 1965 double die errors, sometimes fetching hundreds to thousands of dollars. 1965 off-center strikes. A major off-center error can sell for hundreds or thousands, depending on how dramatic it looks. Clipped planchet errors. These can range from small clips worth $100 plus to dramatic clips worth several $1,000s. Famous auction records. Over the years, several rare 1965 error quarters have made headlines at major auctions. 1965 silver quarter and GCMS 62 sold for $7,050 at heritage auctions. Another example, graded PCGS MS67, fetched nearly $12,650. Off-metal errors like being struck on dime plankets have sold for $8,000 plus. Collectors speculate that the few surviving gem, silver errors could one day reach to $150,000 or more if sold to the right buyer. These are not just coins, they're life-changing finds hiding in everyday pocket change. How to identify a rare 1965 error quarter. If you want to check your change for these treasures, here's what to look for. Weigh the coin. Use a jeweler's scale to see if it weighs 6.25 grams silver or 5.67 grams clad. Check the edge. Clad coins show a copper stripe. Silver coins do not. Look for doubling. Inspect the date, lettering, and motto with a magnifying glass. Check for off-center strikes. Design misalignment adds major value. Listen for the ring test. Tap the coin gently. Silver sings, clad thuds. This is no fairy tale. The 1966 Washington quarter hides a world of secrets and rare minting errors that have made collectors and treasure hunters alike chase after it for decades. While most 1966 quarters are worth only 25 cents, a rare few have sold for hundreds, thousands, or even life-changing amounts at major auctions. So, stick with me until the very end of this video, because I'm going to reveal the history, the errors, the values, the auction records, and the tips to spot these treasures. Who knows? By the end, you may be itching to check your own coin jar. You might be sitting on a fortune hidden in plain sight. The history of the 1966 Washington quarter. The Washington quarter debuted in 1932, originally made of 90% silver and 10% copper. For decades, these silver quarters circulated widely until the 1960s, when the price of silver skyrocketed. Suddenly, people began hoarding silver coins, pulling them from circulation to melt or save as investments. To solve this, Congress passed the Coinage Act of 1965, which eliminated silver from dimes and quarters. Starting in 1965, quarters were struck on a new clad composition, an inner copper core with outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel. Types of rare 1966 error quarters. 1966 Silver Planchet error. Value. These can fetch $5,000 to $50,000 plus, depending on grade. In pristine mint condition, they could reach into six-figure territory. Off-center strikes, 5 to 10% off-center, $200 to $400. 50% plus off-center with full date visible, to $1,000 to $5,000 plus. Minor doubling, $100 a $300. Major bold doubling, $1,000, $5,000 plus. Wrong planchet errors. Value, $3,000 to $15,000, depending on rarity. Clipped planchet errors. Value, $200 to $2,000, depending on size and visibility of the clip. Full brockage errors. Value, to $1,000 to $10,000 plus, highly collectible due to visual appeal. Auction records that shocked collectors. Some examples of 1966 error quarters that rocked the coin world. A 1966 quarter struck on a silver planchet sold for over $12,000 at heritage auctions. An off-center strike in near mint condition crossed $3,000. A wrong planchet error quarter struck on a dime blank sold for over $8,000. The excitement comes from the fact that these coins still occasionally appear in collections, coin rolls, or even pocket change. How to identify a rare 1966 quarter in your change. Here's your quick collector's checklist. Weigh the coin. Silver error equals 6.25 grams, clad equals 5.67 grams. Check the edge. A copper stripe means clad. No stripe could mean silver. Inspect for doubling. Look closely at Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date. Look for off-center designs. The more dramatic, the better. Check for clips or odd shapes. These add value instantly. Pro tip: use a magnifying glass, a coin scale, and good lighting when searching. What if I told you that a simple 1967 Washington quarter, a coin most people think is worth just 25 cents, could actually be worth hundreds, thousands, or even millions of dollars? Yes, you heard that right. Hidden in pocket change, forgotten in jars, and overlooked in collections, the 1967-era Washington quarter dollar is one of those rare coins that could turn ordinary collectors into lucky millionaires overnight. History of the 1967 Washington quarter. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to celebrate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. By the mid-1960s, the U.S. Mint faced a serious silver shortage, leading to a big change. In 1965, silver quarters were officially discontinued, and the mint switched to a clad composition, rare 1967-era quarter varieties. Off-center strikes, value ranges, $500 to over $5,000, depending on how much detail is missing. Double die errors DDO and DDR. Rare examples fetch $1,000 to $15,000 at auction. Struck on wrong planchet errors, struck on a dime planchet 10 smaller and thinner than a quarter, missing parts of the design. Value, $3,000 to $10,000 plus. Struck on a nickel planchet 5 slightly smaller, with incomplete rims. Value, to $1,000 $7,500. Struck on a cent planchet 1C, bronze, extremely rare, reddish tone. Value, $10,000 $25,000. Struck on a foreign planchet in the 1960s, the U.S. Mint struck coins for other countries. A 1967 quarter on a foreign planchet can bring $20,000, $50,000. Full strikes and high-grade errors. Because of poor minting quality in the 1960s, sharply struck 1967 quarters in MS67 and above are extremely rare. Regular clad coins in MS67 can bring $1,500, $5,000, and if combined with an error, the value skyrockets. Clipped plankets, depending on the size of the clip, these errors are worth $500 to $3,000. Transitional errors. If a 1967 quarter were found struck on a 90% silver planchet, it would be worth hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars, because none should exist. How much are 1967 error quarters worth? Let's look at real auction records to show just how valuable these coins can be. A 1967 quarter struck on a dime planchet sold for $8,800. A double die error quarter from 1967 sold for nearly $15,000. High-grade MS6-7 quarters without major errors have sold for over $5,000. Theoretical silver transitional error, if discovered, could easily sell for $1 million at a major auction. This proves that a simple 25-cent coin from 1967 can be worth life-changing money. In today's video, we're going deep into the most rare 1969 era Washington quarters. You'll learn about their fascinating history, the different types of rare errors, the record-breaking values, and how you can spot one that could change your life. Stick around until the end, because the last error I reveal has the potential to be worth millions, yes, millions from a single quarter. History of the 1969 Washington Quarter. The Washington Quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington's 200th birthday. For decades, it was minted in 90% silver, but big changes happened in the mid-1960s, 1965-1967. The U.S. Mint removed silver from quarters due to a shortage, replacing it with a copper-nickel-clad composition. Rare 1969 era Washington quarters. Off-center strike errors. Value, $200 to $5,000. Double die errors DDO and DDR. Value, $1,000 to $20,000 plus, depending on rarity and condition. Wrong planchet errors. On a dime planchet 10C, claddy smaller and missing edges. Value, $2,500 to $10,000. On a cent planchet bronze 1C, distinct reddish tone, incomplete strike. Value, $5,000 to $15,000. On a nickel planchet 5C, rare and collectible. Value, $2,000 to $7,500. On silver planchet leftover 1960 for 90% silver blank, if one escaped into circulation, it could easily be worth $100,000 to $1 million plus. Proof errors 1969S. Proof coins are supposed to be flawless, struck carefully for collectors. But when errors slip through, they become extremely rare. Double strikes and off-centers on proofs are some of the most valuable. Value, $5,000 to $50,000, depending on severity and condition. Clipped plankets, value, $300 to $3,000, transitional errors and experimental strikes. A silver transitional error, struck on a leftover silver blank. These are unconfirmed but possible. If one exists, it could fetch hundreds of thousands, even millions, for in planchet errors, the U.S. Mint struck coins for other nations, so sometimes foreign blanks slipped into U.S. presses. These command $20,000 to $75,000. Auction records big sales. Here are some real auction highlights. A 1969 quarter struck on a dime planchet sold for nearly $8,500. A 1969S proof quarter with a double strike sold for $10,000. High grade. MS67169D quarters without errors have sold for $4,000, $6,000. Theoretical. Transitional silver quarters could fetch $500,000, $1 million if discovered. Some 1968 Washington quarters have shocked the world at auction, turning pocket change into life-changing fortune. In this video, we're uncovering the most rare 1968 era Washington quarters, their fascinating history, and the unbelievable values they can reach. Stick with me to the very end, because the last type of error I'll reveal could make you a millionaire if you're lucky enough to find one. History of the 1968 Washington Quarter. The Washington Quarter series began in 1932, honoring George Washington's 200th birthday. By the 1960s, the coin was a staple of American currency. But there were big changes around this time. The new composition became copper-nickel-clad, with an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel over a pure copper core. Rare 1968 era Washington quarters. Off-center strike errors, value, $500 to $5,000, depending on sharpness and centering. Double Die Errors DDO and DDR. Value, $1,000 to $20,000, depending on rarity and condition. Wrong planchet errors, on a dime planchet 10C, clad, smaller coin, missing parts of design. Value, $3,000 to $10,000, on a nickel planchet 5C, slightly smaller, incomplete rims. Value, $2,000 to $7,500, on a cent planchet bronze, 1 seat extremely rare, reddish tone. Value, $10,000 to $25,000. On a silver planchet transitional error, if struck on leftover 90% silver plankets from 1964, this would be worth $100,000 to $1 million plus. Proof error coins 1968S. Value, $2,500 to $50,000, depending on severity. Clipped plankets. Value, $500 to $3,000. Transitional and experimental errors, on a leftover silver planchet, 90% silver from 1964. None are confirmed yet, but experts believe some could exist. Value, hundreds of thousands to possibly over $1 million. On foreign plankets, since the mint struck coins for other countries, some foreign blanks could have been used by mistake. Value, $20,000, $75,000. Auction records big money sales. Here are some jaw-dropping prices for rare 1968 error quarters. A 1968 D quarter struck on a dime planchet sold for nearly $9,500, a 1968S. Proof quarter with dramatic double strike, sold for $12,000. High-grade MS6-7 1968 quarters, without major errors, have sold for over $5,000. Theoretical silver transitional errors, if confirmed, could easily sell for $500,000, $1 million at auction. And mint mark issues can be tiny. Check the weight. Wrong plankets usually weigh less or more than normal. Send to Gradingware to find rare 1968 error quarters. You don't need to be rich to start searching. These coins can still be found in pocket change and old coin jars. Check carefully. Coin roll hunting from banks, quarters are still available in rolls. Estate sales and flea markets, many sellers overlook errors. Coin shops and online auctions, bargains can still be found if you know what to look for.